Hello everybody, good afternoon and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news where we're going to talk about the players losing faith in OLE, Antonio Conte wanting the job today, but more importantly, Manchester United standing by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Richard Arnold, Ed Woodward, Sir Alex Ferguson, they believe that the time is to stick with Solskjaer and basically believe they know more than most Manchester United fans. And to be honest with you, I want to start off with this. Players. I don't know whether people have picked up on this. We're going to delve into a lot of things. Solskjaer has been at training today. Manchester United believe that it's right to stick by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. There's even been mentioned of giving him 3 games to save his job. It's not a game of bloody snakes and ladders we're playing here. We're playing real life football. What happens if he wins the next 3 and loses to Chelsea? I just said it on Twitter. It's done. It's time to go. And what I'm amazed by, and I'll talk about Sir Alex because we've spoken about Gary Neville and everyone like that. You know, you can't not bring these people into it when they're being mentioned about it. Sir Alex Ferguson wanted us to stick with David Moyes, and that was a mistake. Sir Alex Ferguson bought Jemba. Sir Alex Ferguson is the greatest manager there's ever been. He is a man who needs to be listened to. He's the man who brought Cristiano Ronaldo back. But he's a man who walked out on Man United losing 5-0. He's the man who was like, when Ronaldo didn't start against Everton, says you've got to pick your best players. Is Sir Alex Ferguson just sticking with him because he doesn't want Conte? Because I think it's very obvious that Sir Alex Ferguson doesn't rate Solskjaer and is again probably locked into the emotional blackmail, isn't it? Because Sir Alex has made himself, whether he wants to or not, he's made it very clear that he's not happy with the situation. And if it wasn't Sir Ole, I think he would want him gone. But let's talk. There will be a career mode today at 3 o'clock. Yeah, I need a release. That'll be on Twitch at 3 o'clock. Bloody hell, I do. But there's loads to get through. Make sure you smash a like and subscribe. Let's talk about the players first of all, because Ole has been back in training. Man United have made their decision. I don't believe he's going to get sacked now, which is appalling. I feel washed out by this club. Actually, I'm sure many United fans feel the same. If you look back at the last 6 months of this football club, it's been appalling. I don't know how the Glazers are still there. You know, Newcastle talk about putting up with Mike Ashley, and Arsenal talk about their owners. What an absolute shambles the last 6 months has been. The Super League, where they tried to take us out of the European Cup, which is what we're all about. Tried to turn us into a bloody franchise, and now just totally ignoring what Man United's all about to keep a guy in charge that protects them. It's the self-preservation society run by the Glazers, really is. Sir Alex Ferguson's been in the training ground, feels like dad goes to school because other people picks on his kid, embarrassing for Ole even more, says go. Look, I have heard that. I want to talk about these player quotes. I have heard about Sir Alex going to the training ground. I want to talk about Sir Alex in a bit of depth because I don't want to hear any bad words against Sir Alex Ferguson. If anybody's above criticism, it's probably him. But should anybody be above criticism, I don't know whether that's right, but I can't say anything bad about that man. But you know what, I said it on Twitter as well. Why is Sir Alex Ferguson going to the training ground? It's desperation. It's like picking Van der Beek on Saturday. Ole doesn't want to pick Van der Beek. Sir Alex Ferguson shouldn't be going to the training ground. Like, it's what I mean. We should always preserve and respect our past, but what's the future if you keep jumping in the past? Unless Sir Alex Ferguson's going to the training ground to manage the team, why is he going to the training ground? To give a rousing speech, to tell them to back Ole and get behind Ole and create a siege mentality. As soon as he walks away again, the circus starts up. The clowns, the coaches come back out and it continues. I think what United are getting confused with here is they're trying to make it that the media want Ole to be sacked. The fans want Ole to be sacked. The players I'm going to talk about in the moment, they want him to go, really. It's very obvious. So when Ole sits there with the players and says, we've got to prove them all wrong, we've got to prove them all wrong, I've got nothing against the players. The players have got nothing to prove. I can see that the players are not performing because of the coaching. So if Ole's big plan is to get the players really angry because everyone's switched on us, there has been those times at Manchester United where you need a siege mentality. There definitely has been. But let's not get angry and start ranting here. I don't need the players to respond. I need the club to respond and replace the manager and the coaches. It's not about the players proving us wrong. I know those players are good enough. I know they can go and beat Spurs under Ole, and they might beat Man City under Ole. We're talking about standards and we're talking about the future. I don't need a couple of wins. I don't need 3 wins. I need a Premier League title. We need Man United back where they should be. That's the change we want. So this rousing of the troops, them and us, I don't want them and us with the fans. I want that with the players. I want the players to realise that the fans are with the players. We're willing to give you that chance under a proper manager. So I would, if I was a player, I'd be very careful about what Ollie's telling you to do about, rousing the troops, because it's not about the players. It's about the manager and the coaches, and everybody knows it, and the players know it themselves, and that's what I talk about. Luke says it's his birthday. I'm Ollie out after the results. I hope the board realise that Ollie isn't the one and Conte comes in. We'll talk about that a bit, Lux, but happy birthday. How Moyes was a mistake. I mean, he had just 7 months. We've been making mistakes since Sir Alex. It all started with Moyes sacking. Moyes never should have got the job, Attel. You'll never get any sympathy out of Moyes for me. I never wanted Moyes. In fact, the only reason I probably gave Moyes a chance is because Sir Alex said to back him. I never wanted Moyes. I knew it was a mistake. He was out of his depth. He was like a brick in a swimming pool in the deep end. He was never going to work. He came into that football club and cleared house. David Moyes may as well have walked in with a big sledgehammer and smashed up the trophy room. He got rid of the whole backroom staff and wanted to do it his way. Moyes was a terrible appointment. As if Sir Alex Ferguson's speech is going to magically make them play better and tactics miraculously improve. It's such a load of shite. We're so embarrassing, says Stephen Cherney. Mark, we are global laughing stock. Sir Alex isn't about Christian. Nobody is. Back Manchester United or they're back in the Glazers family, says Andy and Bruno. Well, look, let me just read you some things about the players, because we've all had our say as the fans, and we'll continue to do that, and we'll talk about Conte, and we'll talk about, what's going on at the club. But look, one thing here that's really important. You've got very well briefed outlets saying that Man United don't want to sack Solskjaer, so they're not going to sack him. But those same outlets are briefing things about the players. One of them is ridiculous. That Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's half-time chat with Liverpool was to keep a clean sheet. In another half-time chat at Leicester, I think it was, he apparently said, he asked the team why we're conceding so many goals, and more than one player said, because of you. Like, there's no authority with this man, and yet we're allowing him to continue, but there's more. I'm a silent comedian who say, there's more. There's more. There's much more to read here. So this is from, let me just find this next one. Pressure is still high on Solskjaer. Okay, we know about that. It's about the specifics. The feeling within the club is that whilst the result was bitterly disappointing and painful for everyone, the immediate focus is on proving things. That's from Sky. The sense that Solskjaer is not the man to lead Manchester United has taken hold of a section of the squad over the past month. They admire his manner, commitment and public protection, but doubts are growing about his sophistication. Some would be open to a change. So that's from The Athletic, so that's reliable. Also, it's very likely that he'll be in charge on Saturday, as we know. And these are the ones. These are from The Telegraph, James Ducker, who again is a very good source. He says, one source has said, you won't find one player who doesn't like Ollie on a personal level. He's a nice guy, but we're in a stage where players have lost trust in his tactics and lost trust in his selections. He's lost the bloody dressing room. He's lost the dressing room. This isn't the fans, this is the bloody dressing room. The board shouldn't be listening to Fergie anymore. I respect him, but he shouldn't have a say in football matters anymore. Well, it's like Richard Arnold and Ed Woodward. If I wanted advice on a mortgage, I'll ring HSBC. I don't care what Richard Arnold and Ed Woodward think about football. I've got no interest in... I wouldn't even have a pint with those two people and talk about football, because you know what? I already know what the offside rule is, and I don't want to explain it to them. They're footballing, not they're bankers. Look at their bloody CV. They were mates together at wherever they worked. They're bankers. What are they? Why are they even at Manchester United? Because they helped the Glazers buy the bloody club. What's Ed Woodward got to do with Manchester United and who the next manager should be? He shouldn't even be there. And you know what they're talking about now about Ed Woodward? The man who's on a farewell tour like the bloody Rolling Stones, he's rolling on till May now. He was meant to go in the summer, then it's Christmas, now it's April. He's the biggest problem at the bloody football club. Get a CEO who knows football. He's useless, man. He's absolutely useless. I'm going all street talk now as well. Turn things around against Spurs. It isn't a Champions League final, and honestly, what's going to change in the next 3 days that hasn't in the last 3 years, says Michael. Been waiting all night to listen to you moan. It's therapeutical after the Liverpool game, says Devanshu. Hi Mark, not watching this team with Ollie as manager going to have a foursome, says Mikael Roach. And do you think the board have backed Ollie enough, which results for the focus to switch for Glazers out to Ollie out, says Hamad. Mate, I said it yesterday. Ollie can't sack himself. I think Glazers out should be the pressure. I think Glazers out the pressure should have continued in May. There's a lot of people who have spoken to me, and I've read a lot of things as well. There's a lot of United fans who were involved in those protests, who actually attended the protests, who organised them, who were massively involved, who feel totally disillusioned that it all stopped. They felt they had momentum and it fell away. And the reality is, a few months later, they're crapping on the fans again. And we're never going to get proper change at this football club. And Newcastle will surpass us in the next 5 years, 100%, because they're trying to run a football club and we are running a circus. And the reality is that they don't know what they're doing, but they think that they do. And, Sir Alex Ferguson has said himself, football's nothing without the fans. Well, there's total ignorance to the fans and what they want to happen now. And there's total ignorance to the players. This is basically 4 or 5 people deciding that Solskjaer's staying above millions and millions and millions of other people and a large proportion of our squad. Mark, someone has to take the accountability. Either he sacks his backroom staff or makes 7 changes to 11. If he starts the same team more or less, fans need to take matter into their own hands. Jimmy, I don't really care what fans do. I'm out anyway. I don't want Ollie to make changes to his team, because if he changes his team, he may as well sack himself. That he's been so stubborn over the last 18 months picking McFred and everybody else. Stick by them. If you're the man, stick with the team that you've been sticking with. I don't want him to drop McTominay and Fred at the weekend. I want him to pick them. I want him to keep doing what he's stubbornly done for the last year. I don't want him to pick Van der Beek now, because it's shallow. If he picks Van der Beek and we win 3-0 against Spurs on Saturday, I'll still say Ollie out after the game. I will say, you know what, you've even gone further down in my estimation now, because now you're trying to win fans back. You're meant to be winning football matches. You're trying to win fans back by picking a player that you've refused, like a stubborn child, effectively, to pick. And now you're so desperate to keep your job that you're going to listen to fans and pick somebody we all know you don't really want to pick. Mark, please just hear me out. Forget about his past of who he managed. Just look at his ability. What about Brendan Rodgers? I'd take Brendan Rodgers. I'd pick Brendan Rodgers up now. Richie, 100%. 100%. I'm at that point where I would take most good options. I don't really want Conte, but I'd take him over this situation because we need to change. Don't care if we beat Spurs or not. Club PR makes me sick. If about Manchester United were a joke, Sir Alex Ferguson left at 70 minutes, so he looks a joke now, sticking by Ollie, says Andy and Bruno. Absolutely embarrassing from our club. Man United more like mediocre acceptance FC, says Angel. And why do you think Sir Alex Ferguson is still backing Ollie? The board is using it as an excuse to keep Ollie, says Vignesh. It's all. I said this morning we were going to move into PR world, and we're moving into PR world. You associate Sir Alex Ferguson with keeping Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and already you bring that percentage down. If 99% of fans were ready for Solskjaer to get sacked, that's probably already come down to 90% with Sir Alex saying stand by him. But I'm willing to stick by. Sir Alex Ferguson says something, and I'm like attentive. I really am. But on this one, I'll come back to standards. It's not about Ollie in, it's not about Ollie out, it's about standards. The standards should never be that if you lose to Liverpool 5-0 at home and take 1 point from 12 and mess up a title race in 6 weeks with the squad that we've got, you've got to go. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I don't care who you are, you've got to go. So Sir Alex Ferguson, Gary Neville, whoever, Roy Keane, all the people I respect and say what they like, I will not follow that voice, because I just do not believe that the standards should ever drop that low. And can I just say as well, what we're talking about here is an incompetent manager. He should be sacked. He'll still be a legend and we'll still love him, but as a manager he's incompetent. And let me just say this, 1 point from 12, annihilated in our last 2 Premier League games, lucky in our last 2 Champions League games. We've got 6 points from our last 2 Champions League games. Nobody would have argued if we'd had none. Like, we've taken 6 points from 9. We lost to Young Boys. We were lucky against Villarreal and we were lucky against Atalanta. We've been annihilated in our last 2. We've got 14 points from, is it 27? That's nearly half our points dropped. And we've not really played anybody that good apart from Liverpool and maybe Leicester and maybe West Ham. It's totally and utterly sackable. But it goes beyond that. Anthony Jury says this is absolutely rubbish. How can you keep a manager that's lost the dressing room? And I'll come back to some more quotes on that, Anthony. Ollie wasn't up to standard yet. The board gives him a pay rise, says Michael. Why not Laurent Blanc until the end of the season? I'd do that as well, Karamu. Did you hear about Mark Ogden on Fabrizio's show? He said that Ollie didn't want to sign Donny van der Beek and wasn't his signing. It was the club's signing. Explains it all, says S. Ahmad. At the end of the day, what you're also dealing with is you are dealing with incompetence on a grand scale that the whole world can see. I mean, the only people singing Ollie's at the wheel is Liverpool fans and rival fans. They're desperate for him to stay. I think the only people that don't want us to beat Spurs on Saturday is Spurs fans. Arsenal fans want us to win, obviously. Liverpool fans want us to win. The reality is, and Ryan says, what's the difference between Ted Lasso and Ollie? One is pretending to be a manager, the other is an actor, and I'd still take Ted right now. Glazers ruined the club for Liverpool and City, says Rohit. There's another aspect to Solskjaer as well, the liar. The liar. Like, and people say, well, that's a very harsh word, but, you know, the results are terrible, the Liverpool thing's terrible, the lack of football is terrible, the coaching is terrible. What you know, people always defend him on his man management, but his man management has to be brought into the conversation as well. He's openly, clearly lied. Because, it's a harsh word to say lie, but Donny van de Beek was told in the summer he'd get first team opportunities. Lie. Jesse Lingard was told he was going to get first team opportunities. Lie. Eric Bailly signed a contract when he's got 1 year left. They lie. They told him he'd get first team opportunities. Lie. They did it to get him to keep his value up. How many other people have been told that? Like, you know, effectively Cavani was persuaded to stay because of first team opportunities. I mean, I know we've got Ronaldo, but still a lie. Like, there's actually so much evidence beyond the performances of really poor man management. Like, really poor. You've got, and I don't know whether this is 100% true, but there was apparently an Instagram post last night where it was Ollie out, and Jesse Lingard liked it. Like, I guarantee Scott McTominay and Harry Maguire and Fred love Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Why wouldn't they? I'm not knocking them for that. But I guarantee you, Donny van de Beek, Eric Bailly, maybe Jesse Lingard, maybe a few others, don't. Because they feel that they've been lied to. And that's something that doesn't get mentioned as well. Because obviously everybody's talking about the terrible football, the terrible results. But there's this myth that he's a good man manager. He's only a good man manager if you're a favourite. And is that not the same as Mourinho? Mourinho treated Luke Shaw, Anthony Martial, a few others like shit. But he had his favourites. But people said, oh, he's not a good man manager because look at the way he's treating Martial and Shaw. Well, why is Ollie a good man manager then? I mean, Eric Bailly's a massive one. And let me just read you this about Eric Bailly, because let's not forget, Eric Bailly was going to be out of contract. He was another player that was going to go. And United have completely and utterly manipulated him, because what they've done with that is they've got him to sign a new contract. But what player would sign a new contract if you, unless you're being offered something? Now, it is understood, this is from the Telegraph, it's understood that Eric Bailly openly challenged Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in the aftermath of the 4-2 defeat at Leicester when he reputedly asked the manager why he'd picked a centre-half who was not fit over him. And again, you know, this is the thing. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has clearly signed off on Eric Bailly getting a new contract. There's clearly been some chat about first-team football, and he picks an injured Harry Maguire, who puts in one of the worst centre-back performances we've ever seen of a United player, and we've seen Phil Jones play, over Eric Bailly, who's fit and just been playing international football and is fully fit. You know, but that's great man management, picking an injured player over a player that's fit, who you've told you're going to give first-team opportunities to. And this is what I mean. Nobody's given me a reason to keep Ollie yet. And yet we keep getting, it's almost like we're getting 5 new reasons every hour not to keep him as more and more stuff come out. One senior player is also understood to have asked why Donny van de Beek has been routinely passed over. Others have questioned why Lingard has been frozen out and why others such as Matic have been used sparingly. It's just, you know, I'm in a state of disbelief as to how much wrong has been done, and yet how we're still in this position. This is depressing. The treatment of certain players' results are poor. Standards are dropping. Glazers need to go, or things will just get worse. That's from Gordon Murray. And Mark, I flew here from Canada to attend the Liverpool match and Spurs match. What a disaster, says Canna Dave. And Mark, who will be responsible for failed to qualify for the next round of the Champions League? Sir Alex, the board, Ollie, or his mate, says Advocate. You know, at this point, we'll come on to this then. So, Antonio Conte wants the job. Antonio Conte wants the job. Romano said he wants the job. He'll take the job right here, right now. So there is no argument that there is nobody available. There is definitely somebody who wants the job, and they will take it now. Now, whether you want Conte or not, he will take the job right now. And as I said many, many times, you know, Glazers should listen to the fans and not the boardroom. No more excuses, says Via. You know what? Obviously, I run a fan channel. I'm very passionate about fan opinion, but to be honest with you, I've been saying this for a very long time. I'd rather go down and have a pint with 6 of you and talk about United's future and how we get better than go and sit down with the board of Manchester United. And that says it all. And I'm not being melodramatic there, and you know it's true. I would rather sit down with 6 of you United fans and talk about how we solve this problem at United than sit down with our board. Because, and I include everybody on that board, I think this decision is appalling. Donny came back stronger, Ollie lied. Eric signed a contract, promised first team football, lied. Ollie is a liar, says Mikael Roach. Well, apparently, when Eric Bailly was in the dressing room after the Leicester game and said, why have you picked an injured player over me, Donny van der Beek stepped forward and said, hi, I'm Donny van der Beek. I've been sat in this dressing room for 2 years. I played in a Champions League final. I was a really good footballer. And Ollie said, pleased to meet you. Yeah, I mean, that's a joke. But you know what I mean is it's like... Donny van der Beek's situation has irritated a lot of people. Benching Paul Pogba has irritated a lot of people. Keeping Jesse Lingard but then not using him has irritated a lot of people. There are so many things that he has made a mess of, and he shouldn't be getting this opportunity at all. But where are we at the moment? Well, look, Conte wants the job right here, right now. Manchester United don't want to give him the job right here now. They want to give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer another 3 games, and that makes me want to throw up, because I don't get that. I don't get that mentality. Like, how it's already done. You know, it's like that clip from The Simpsons where they say stop, he's already dead, and yet we're still kicking him. Like, we're still basically kicking Solskjaer when he's down. Like, we know Ole can win the next 3 games. I'd be stunned if we did. I personally think 1 out of Spurs, Man City and Atalanta we won't win. We might draw 1 and win 2, but he won't win the next 3. But he could win the next 3. I wouldn't be surprised if he did. But even if he does win the next 3, so what? So what? We've got Chelsea to play. What if they beat us? You know, it's like they can only... My only saving grace in this is that, are they buying time for the inevitable? But if they're buying time, what are they buying time for? Like, Conte will take the job now. You don't need to wait 2 weeks to take Conte. So who are you waiting for? And if it's Pochettino, I'm not convinced Pochettino, after failure at PSG, is the right man to come in and do the job anyway. I mean, Pochettino, Conte, is there a massive amount of difference in those two? Conte's more of a winner. So, and you know, and he's a Premier League winner. So what is it we're waiting for? I don't think we're buying time. I don't think we're waiting. I think they're trying to keep Solskjaer in a job. I think that's what they're trying to do. And of course, it's very difficult because, you know, Sir Alex Ferguson has always said, you know, football's nothing without the fans. And yet the fans of Manchester United are basically being ignored. They are being ignored. They know what the majority want. They know what some of the players want. And they are stubbornly deciding to do this. And I think they're wrong. I think they're very, very wrong. And I think they're being very arrogant. But there is many, many a time I've been told by people who work in that club that people like on that board are arrogant people. Not Sir Alex Ferguson, but, you know, CEOs. They're very arrogant people and they think that they know best. And many a time they've described fans as hysterical. So they believe that... I've had it said to me about Ed Woodward that he walks around like Manchester United like he owns the place, like he's in charge, and that nobody's opinion matters other than his, and that includes the fans. Now, obviously, every now and again he will say the fans are important, but it's lip service. They don't actually listen. And what they've shown, absolutely shown over the last 48 hours is they think they know better than you, than players and media. They think they know better than everybody. And that is the message, isn't it? And it's a very disappointing message, but it's not a very surprising message because this is why United are where they are. They talk about long-termism, they talk about future plans. The only long-term project we've got is not winning trophies. That's what it is. And look, all right, we've won a Carabao Cup and FA Cup, but trophies to Manchester United are the Premier League and the Champions League, and the only thing we're specialising in it is that. Ollie is a knucklehead. He is a PE teacher, not a manager, says Sabatashi. I feel sorry for Van der Beek. Well, I don't like the criticism there. I don't think we need to call people names, Cameron, but I understand people are frustrated. Sorry, not Cameron. Sabatash. Cameron, welcome to the Members Club. Sporting this club is a real struggle. Want to be behind the club and enjoy the football, but we just keep being let down, says Gordon Murray. And I think that's a great point, Gordon, because I definitely feel like that. When we were talking about managerial options last night, and Adam was like, I would like Conte, and I was like, I don't really want Conte, but if we do get Conte, at least we close this door and we open up another door. And I think this is what fans are hungry to do. They want to close the door and open a door of positivity that might lead to negativity, but ultimately just give us some positivity. The Solskjaer journey has been a long, arduous, frustrating journey, and I just want to get off the train or the bus. I'm fed up of it. I've got a headache. It's to carry on with this journey. I don't like where it's going, and yet we've got to stay on the bus because you should never get off being a Man United fan. I don't agree with people saying I'm not going to support the team, I'm not going to watch the team, I want us to lose against Spurs. I don't agree with that personally, but I'm tired of this. I'm absolutely tired of this. And if they had sacked Ole yesterday and brought Conte in, I'd have had my reservations, but I'd have been like, we're going to get a manager on the touchline who knows how to coach, we're going to get a manager on the touchline who's passionate, and we're going to get a manager on the touchline who will do everything he can to win with an experienced ability to win. And I would have been engaged again. And I would have been excited about that Spurs game. That Spurs game to me now, I'm like, well, I hope we win. Of course I hope we win because we desperately need points. But we're messing around with 3 points again. They did this with Bruno. They spent all of January trying to sign Bruno. And we lost to Burnley because of it. And those 3 points could have cost us top 4. They didn't, but they could have done. And that's how this club acts. They don't act like a football club. They will allow points to go. They will allow games to be lost while they make decisions. And that's not what a football club does. Even a football club that's in a relegation battle doesn't wait because they need the points. We need the points and we should be making the change. Keeping Ole to reduce his payout when they can be sure he can't meet the club's objectives. The banker's thinking, says Dale. That's shocking if true. The problem with Ten Hag is he's from Ajax. The board might bench him, says Caleb. Not the first time we've heard that joke, but well done. This is the right time for Conte. If they don't change the manager, it will get even worse, says Vinya. We need to forget top 4. Eventually, Ronaldo will leave. And I think this treatment of his non-favourite player says it all about Ole. It's hard to not like the guy, but his stubbornness was always going to be what ruined it for him. Sad, but a new era awaits, says NMCC. Ferguson seems to think that Ole is his prodigy. He needs to be accountable too, says Retro. Look, I personally think Sir Alex Ferguson is above criticism, but I've already seen people criticising him on social media. It's a very dangerous thing for anybody, as Gary Neville has found out, to side with the Glazers and go against the fans. And I think that Sir Alex Ferguson here is siding with Ed Woodward and the Glazers effectively, when most fans feel it's time for a change. I don't want to see any hate or abuse towards Sir Alex Ferguson. I'm sure Sir Alex has his reasons, but I'd also say I think the only reason can be emotional, because we saw him disgustedly walk out of what happened on Sunday. We saw him after the Everton game talking to Khabib about how you have to pick Ronaldo, and you've seen how many points we've dropped. Like, if it wasn't Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and it was Jose Mourinho, Sir Alex would probably sit there and go, yeah, it's time for a change. It's this, as I said it this morning, it's this emotional blackmail that we have that's causing the problem. Do you think we should sack Ole now and get in a caretaker, or should we stick with Ole till the summer and get someone permanent then? Babev, I can't believe I'm being asked this question. I mean, we've done hours of streams over the last 2 days. Sack him, and sack him now. I don't take any satisfaction in it, but 100%. I don't want to put up with this against Spurs. I don't know what Man United think they're doing. I really don't. I mean, to be honest with you, if it was Arsenal or Liverpool or Chelsea, I'd be watching this with real attentiveness, because I'd be like, wow, a football club is going to keep a manager that's terrible, that's got half his squad against him, that the players don't really want anymore, that the fans don't want anymore. There's 100 million reasons to sack him, and they've decided to keep him. This is a really interesting experiment on how bad it can get, or could it be turned around? Unfortunately, it's happening at our club again. And I want us to beat Spurs, I want us to beat Man City, because I want United to win every game. But I'm absolutely emotionally drained and disappointed by the fact that he's still here. And that we're being subjected to this. And it goes back to standards for me. This is why I've always said I'd rather the Glazers went before Ole, because this is just incompetence on a grand scale again. A football club would have sacked him. We're a business who goes against everything the fans want, everything the players want because they think they know best. And it's very sad when you're being run by a dictatorship that's incompetent. Keeping Ollie makes me hope we lose against Spurs. Sad but true, says FIFA Gangster. Jacob, thank you for the super chat. Watford have a better board and owner than Man United. Look how fast they replaced Isco and we're still stuck with Ollie, says Ken. Hi Mark, I'm a Liverpool fan from South Africa, but United are a great team I love to watch. I went through all of the Liverpool lows and I feel for the fans, but the club must come first. Ollie was a great player, but he is not a great coach, says Tuckles. I'm actually wondering if the board are afraid that Conte will be too strong-willed, not a yes man, says Ryan. I love Sir Alex Ferguson, but come on, he hasn't been really helpful since he left, like a stubborn man fueling his ego by supporting bad decisions, says Mario. If the players have... well, he did get his Ronaldo back. If the players have turned against him, then there's no point keeping him. The loss of points will just continue, says Gordon Murray. Mark, this club will raise points to save a fiver, says Richie J. And... what was that one I wanted to read? Look, I don't think this is a footballing decision. I don't think it's a footballing decision at all. I think this is a self-preservation decision. I think that they are terrified, absolutely. I think Manchester United are terrified of bringing a competent manager in with a competent coaching team because they'd walk in and go, Murta, what are you doing? Fletcher, what are you doing? Woodward, what are you doing? And they don't want that. One thing we've spoken about consistently over the last 3 years is that United is a job for the boys. It's mates race. They don't employ outsiders unless they know who that outsider is. If they went to college with them, if they worked with them in a previous job, if they played for the club. They don't bring external expertise in because external expertise will go in and go, what the hell is going on here? They need to maintain the status quo and they are terrified. So what they're doing is they're dismissing Conte by talking about playing style, short-termism. That's bullshit. We haven't won a title in years. We don't have a good playing style. How can you criticise Conte's playing style when we're playing like we are with Ollie? That's like a rusty mini metro pulling up alongside a Ferrari and laughing and saying, ha, you're slow. It's like, it's illogical, but it will still come out because it's PR spin and it will get people thinking and they'll erode people and make people think, well, let's stick with what we've got. They don't want Conte or anybody else because they're terrified that Conte will come in and expose how badly the club is run. In that, that makes me want Conte even more because I'm fed up of how Manchester United are run. It's incompetence. It's jobs for the boys, and it doesn't work. We're likely to draw against Spurs, lose to Atalanta and get hammered by City, who probably want to one-up Liverpool and really stick the knife in on us, says Daryl Street. Whilst the man management is a myth, keeping him will undo everything he supposedly fixed. We will be back to toxicity and unhappy players, says Gnomes. We've already got toxicity and unhappy players, Gnomes, so I don't know what you're talking about there. I stick with Ollie. Not all fans are Ollie out. Time to focus on Tottenham, says Bente. Will there be any protests for the Glazers out and Ollie out? No. There won't be, Vijay. And our club wants to keep him to say we told you so, to look like they know what they're doing, says Hugh. Well, look, if we're holding up a Premier League title in the summer, I'll be absolutely stunned. But I know we won't. They say never, but it's not going to happen because he can't play good football. His coaches can't play good football. Some of the players have given up on him. The training is crap. And there's way better teams than us. So we've got a very, very good squad. We can win games and we're not winning as many games as we should do. But we're never going to win the league, so this is never going to work. He will get sacked. He's going to get sacked at some point. They're just delaying the inevitable. And actually, from a Glazers out perspective, if they'd sacked him yesterday, there would have been no backlash. It would have just gone from bye-bye Ollie to hello new manager positivity. For the Glazers, the best thing for them to do was to sack him yesterday. The worst thing to do was to keep him because it puts all eyes on them and their incompetence and takes focus away from Ollie to a certain extent because it's like, well, we already know Ollie needs to be sacked. You've kept him. So it's actually a really stupid decision that they've made because they've put the pressure on themselves. Ollie needed to be sacked. Ollie can't do anything about that. But he can't sack himself. If they'd sacked him yesterday, it would have been, thanks for all you've done, Ollie, move on, let's go. There wouldn't have been a lot of negativity, but the fact that they've kept him has just created a lot of frustration, a lot of anger, a lot of division, a lot of toxicity. We won't win any trophies this season and we should be competing with this squad. He will be gone at the end of the season, so why prolong the inevitable, says Lewis. Hi Mark, do you think a new manager would take the captaincy off Maguire? Also check Pogba news, says Harry Richardson. I'll have a look at that, yeah. I mean, look, as I said, it's a clean slate for me with every player. Taking captaincies off, this, that, and the other. I don't hold a grudge against any player. I think that, I think Ollie will try and play that card. He will try and get to the players and say we need to prove everybody wrong. But I don't think the players need to prove anybody wrong. It's the coaching that's wrong. I've got no issue with the players. I just want those players under a proper coach. There's no player I'm saying sell at the moment. I will say never pick McTominay and Fred again, but I'm not saying sell them. There might be a better coach might get better out of them. Conte's at the top of his game right now and will drill this team and make us tough to beat. It might not end well, but I'm sure he wins as the league. Conte's fallen out with clubs, not with players, says Shahan. And it made me laugh when people said Man City lost to Leicester 5-2 and they won the league. Well, a bit of news flash, Pep is world class, Ollie isn't, says MG. I'm so tired of having this major manager roulette every 2 years. Let's just hope next one is someone who brings the joy back, says Tumas. Oh, the funniest one is comparing Manchester United losing to Man City when we got thrashed at home. Is comparing that to Ollie losing to Liverpool. Manchester United against Man City, we were in the game going into stoppage time. Sir Alex went for it. He tried to get something back, and we ended up just getting hit on the break, and we conceded a lot of goals. But we were in that game into the last 5 minutes, or Sir Alex thought we were in that game, so he just went gung-ho. How can you compare that? And that season we were in a title race all year. How can you compare that with 4-0 down at half-time and Liverpool taking their foot off the gas in the second half? That was an annihilation. There is no comparison between that. No comparison at all. And everything surrounding it is very, very different as well. I'm just trying to see what this Pogba thing is. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer completed the training session at Carrington today. Sir Alex Ferguson was there too. Feeling around the staff is the same. He's staying. Manchester United are prepared to give him another chance with Tottenham and potentially Atalanta City games. Paul Pogba wants to stay with Manchester United but not with Solskjaer as manager. He's waiting to see what happens with him. That's via Fabrizio Romano, which is quite interesting. And I mean, you know what? I'm just beyond words. I'm beyond words at this point. So Pogba wants to go unless Solskjaer goes, and then he might stay. I am massively disappointed that Man United are giving him another 3 games. I feel sick. You'll notice that I don't scream and shout Ollie out because that's never what I wanted to be. I just feel devastated that this football club has lowered the standards to a level that we are giving a manager another chance after 1 point from 12, 14 from 27, and annihilation against Leicester and Liverpool. And some of the worst football I've ever seen. He's fallen out with half the squad. I just don't. I can't. All I want. This is why I said to Gary Neville, please come on the show or let me have a chat with you, which he bottled. He won't do it. But the reality is, I would love to just have a chat with Gary and say, please give me 3 reasons why. 3 reasons why. Because I need them. I actually feel like medicine. It would be medicine to me. I feel ill. I need this medicine. I need to know what it is, why we're doing this, because I can just see hundreds of reasons why not. I need to know. And I don't know. I can't figure it out why he's getting another 3 games. This is emotional stupidity. This is polishing a turd FC. I just don't get why he's getting more time. We're Manchester United. Where are our standards? What are we doing? Why are we giving a manager another 3 games? And if he wins the next 3 games and then loses another one, we're back here now. You know what it is? It's sabotage. It's bloody sabotage. That's all it is. It must be about saving money. It's not about football. We're not a football club. We keep saying this. We're not a football club. We're a business run by bankers with a B. And I'm stunned. I'm absolutely stunned at how incompetent and embarrassing this is. But they seem to want to go to new levels every 6 months of incompetence and embarrassment. The Super League was bad enough, and now they're doing this. We're a laughingstock, an absolute laughingstock. And I would cling on to any positivity, but please tell me, half the squad don't like him. Most of the fan base want him out. His football is horrendous. I read something today that the pressing plan is that the player closest to the ball runs towards the ball and everyone else runs back. My God, I wasn't even taught like that 30 years ago when I was playing as a kid. And I've had some crap coaches, and I never got told that. When they've got the ball, one of you try and get it and the rest of you run back. I mean, bloody, how? And what? Sir Alex Ferguson's been to training to give everyone a speech about, the good old days. Like, as soon as he gets back in his car, the circus clowns come out again. I just don't get it. I really do not get it. And yet again, the biggest thing of all, we've all got opinions and we've all got different opinions, but the biggest thing of all, where's the communication from the football club again? Where's an official statement about what you're doing? Why are we hearing about this through the press? Why are the fans being treated like mushrooms, fed on shit again? You had a meeting in the summer. You had protests just before that. You had people who were going to force you out of the club. You called a meeting, you sat in a meeting and you said communication needs to be better. We've had one of the worst starts to the season we've had in years. We're playing the worst football we've seen in years. We've had the most embarrassing defeat we've had in decades. And it's silence, apart from we're backing the manager because we know best. Where's the communication? Where's the acknowledgement? Where is the attempt to try and explain what's going on to the fans? Nothing. Pure arrogance and stubbornness again. If Ollie wants to do what's best for the club, then he should leave. We have quality players that look like they should belong in League 2. What a joke, says Charlie Young. I know it's wishful thinking, but can Sir Alex Ferguson come back? No, Jason. Let the man retire. Sir Alex Ferguson needs to retire. And he has retired. He's not managed for coming up for 10 years. And the game's changed a lot. Look, when Sir Alex Ferguson retired, Mourinho was considered the best manager in the world. He's now a laughingstock in the Premier League. So, we've seen what comebacks can do. Look at Ronaldo. And I still think Ronaldo's a fantastic player, by the way. Board has done checkmate over the fans by giving Ole Gunnar Solskjaer some more games. If we lose, we might be out of Champions League and the Premier League title race. Imagine Ronaldo in the Europa League. If we win this, McKenna Phelan naivety circle is on again, says Anshul. Look. I want Man United to win every game. If they win again, and as I said this morning, this is just cowardice. This is waiting for. I mean, look, all you're going to hear from Ollie in his press conferences, we're going to bounce back. I mean, I may as well watch UK Gold because he said it after Leicester. He's going to say it after Liverpool. He said it after Villa. He's been saying the same old nonsense for weeks. But you know what they've done? They've looked at Spurs and gone, Spurs are crap. We can beat Spurs, and then everything's back on track. I guarantee you, if we had Man City on Saturday, it'd be gone. This is just because we've got an easy game at the weekend that if they win, and I say easy game, Spurs might beat us, but an easier game. Spurs aren't very good. I've seen them a few times this season. They're not good. They're banking on bounce back ability, quality individualism. Spurs can't score goals really at the moment, so we get a moment of Rashford or Ronaldo and we keep a clean sheet and we win the game. And then they go, that's it. We keep Ollie for the rest of the season now. It's complete opportunism. It's complete short-termism. And the hilarious thing is, well, we don't want Conte because of his style of football and short-termism. Wow. I've never seen short-termism like what we're doing now. We're keeping a manager who should be sacked, who's playing crap football, so he can beat Spurs. It's completely short-termism. It's completely hypocritical. I know we've done that one as well. Borders, I've done that. Gary Neville is a failed manager and reached his ceiling as a club owner. Like Ollie, if he wasn't an ex-player, Man United fans wouldn't stand for it, says Michael Nelson. Well, Gary Neville was retweeting this morning about Sky standing by Ollie. He wants it to happen. Search birth of McFred. Turns out Ollie first uses them after 6-1 defeat, which followed with decent results like PSG win. Sadly, that's what brainwashed him, says Majda. My under-12s coach tells us we need 3 players pressing and it would take 2 or 3 passes to win it like that, says JJ45. And why Donny van der Beek isn't playing, this isn't training, this is bullshit. Ollie, says Roger. And shocking that Neville and the rest of them are throwing Ronaldo under the bus before Ollie can't press with Ronaldo. Have they watched Portugal play, says Nick. And also Ollie is probably hanging on to get the sack rather than resign so he gets the severance, says Varun. And Slaven says, has there ever been a situation where a manager was more sackable than Ollie now? I can't think of one, Slaven. I really can't. What happens if we lose to Spurs and he continues to play Maguire and Shaw? Well, I like Maguire and Shaw, Belay, so I don't know what that's all about. I'm tired of this. We're running in the same circle again. How can we solve the problems? Is it the manager or the owners? Feel sorry for Ronaldo, says Amir. And Mark, why are you repeating things you have said before in a weird high-pitched voice? Things like, I don't want short-termism, says Andre. Mate, probably because I'm depressed and fed up and disillusioned, and I don't really know. But look, talking about Gary Neville, he was retweeting about Solskjaer staying from Sky. He was retweeting about Conte not suiting United. So Gary wants Ole to stay, and he doesn't want Conte. So it probably won't happen because, as I've said before, he thinks he's just a pundit, but actually he's got ties into United, and I think they listen to people like that. So you can forget Conte, you can forget Solskjaer being sacked, because 4 or 5 powerful voices in and around that club have dictated what's going to happen over millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of other people who think something else should happen. So effectively, we are being dictated to by a select few people who think they know best. Welcome to the real world. If Ole wasn't a club legend, he would be gone, says Kate. And I agree. I completely agree with that. But look, I'm going to move on. We are going to be back live at 8 o'clock with another show. But I think, unfortunately, we've moved over the curve now. I think we've been waiting for Solskjaer to be sacked. That's clearly not going to happen. And we're now going to have to just put up with this pictures from training, smiling, nonsense, press conferences, players bouncing back against Spurs and maybe against Man City. It's sad. It's sad. I think there was a real opportunity to show real football club leadership and a real opportunity to rescue this season, and now it's going to be the same old shit. And if he dares to pick Van der Beek on Saturday, I'm going to lose it. I really will. Not because I don't want Van der Beek to play, because I do, but because he's doing it out of desperation, and that's not leadership. His leadership, although he got it wrong, was the stubbornness to stick with McFred when everyone else said don't do it. If he now drops McFred to play Van der Beek and Matic, I'd sack him for that, because that's just playing to the fans. That's basically that's an admission you're useless. That's an admission the fans were right. We can't have a manager that's that wrong. So, but he should be sacked anyway. Konate equals more clean sheets at Old Trafford than Varane. That's irrelevant. Michael Smith. Varane didn't even play in that game, and he's not. And also, Konate's not coached by a circus act. And he's coached by a good coach. I'm sure Varane would have a lot of clean sheets if he played under Klopp. I just cannot forget the expression of Sir Alex Ferguson and then panning to Dalglish Lafish. Just can't get out of my head. Horrendous. Thank you, Desperation. Right, I'm going to be playing a bit of FIFA myself. I need a bit of a release. So I'm going to be on Goldbridge TV on Twitch in about 10 minutes time playing my FIFA career mode. And you can join me on there if you want to continue the chat. Thank you everyone for watching. Smash a like. We'll be back at 8 o'clock. Picking the pips out of another horrendous day as a Manchester United fan and supporter. We are in the hands of the Glazers, and it's a very, very sad thing. Thanks for watching.